Welcome to the I'm Such a Pisces podcast. We're two friends taking an explorative journey into all things astrology and a little woo. I'm Christine. I'm a creative, intuitive counselor and coach, and astrology enthusiast. We Pisces like to wear all the hats. You can find me on IG at The Dreamy Piscean.
And I'm Shelby. I am a licensed social worker, a big feelings person, and a light skeptic. Here to learn all the astrological things. You can find me on Twitter at Shelby Tweeting, and being a Cancer rising on Instagram at Shelby Cooking Things. Welcome to our show.
Hey y'all. Welcome back to the I'm Such a Pisces podcast. My name is Christine.
And I'm Shelby.
And welcome to our little show here, our little podcast show.
It's a podcast show. Here
it's
we
a
are.
podcast show. Yes. Shelby, how are you doing? How's life? How's your life going?
Well, I'm going to just, I'll let everyone know, for anyone who was concerned after last week when I literally felt like I was about to die. It's great. Honestly, it's great. I feel really good. I'm still kind of, obviously going through a lot. The end of that Saturn return really fucked me.
Yep.
But in a way that is going to be good for my personal growth. And I'm like really happy today. Like, I just got back from a little vacation and I'm feeling really supported by, the people in my life, and I'm feeling really happy. I'm feeling really optimistic. And again, call back to last week if you listened, that solar return chart had a lot of that Sagittarius energy. So, we're feeling optimistic. Yes, we're feeling good. We're feeling positive. We're in a good space. I feel like I look cute today. I don't know. Things are going well. As well as they can.
I love this for you. I mean, there's nothing like getting fucked in a way that's great for your personal growth. It's just like, isn't that Saturn?
Yeah.
It's I got fucked. But it was good for me. I feel so happy now. It's so great for my growth. Like, I am going to be a better person. Because of this.
Yeah. No, really, like, truly, it is.
But, I mean, literally, that's Saturn. That is Saturn.
I was about to make an Aries Venus joke.
Come
on your part.
Yes.
Just, what are we, 30 seconds into the pod? But also,
I mean, I already brought it there. Nothing like
you already brought it there. But I mean that. I really do. I kind of my life got turned upside down, and I felt ways that I didn't expect to feel. And you know what? We're rolling with the changes, and it feels nice. I had a big conversation with my therapist about letting go of control and just letting things happen, not trying to manipulate people's perceptions of the situation or of me.
Yep.
Just letting them exist for what they are. So that is what we're focusing on. That's my goal.
Amen.
Amen. Christine, how are you? How's your life? How are you feeling?
This morning I thought about this, I've moved through different phases through the day, I'll be honest. But today I felt very powerful, honestly. I was powerful. So, I think, maybe it was 2 weeks ago that we talked a little bit about Lilith. No, well, we talked about it a little bit last week when we got into the solar return charts. Right. And so since then I've done some more studying, some more, research on Lilith, and just getting back into my chart. It's so funny, every time I look at a chart, no matter what the chart is, the next time you see it, you see more things, or you see a degree that makes something an aspect even more it just makes sense. It all just kind of clicks. So I was looking back at my solar return chart, and I noticed, I think I'd said that my Lilith and my, Venus are both in Aries, but they are actually conjunct. And not only are they conjunct, but they are exactly conjunct. There is no degree separation between the two. And so I had created this post. I'm going to still put it up on my Instagram, but I just, like, I went back to work and, of course, ran out of steam for social media.
Sadly.
It just
Boo,
takes it
work.
right on out you. Yes.
It really
And
fucks those creative pursuits.
It really does. So, I mean, I was doing this research and I'm like, this is what it is. Like, and there was this post that someone did, I think on Twitter, about like Lilith, again, that Lilith energy is like, she doesn't care about your man or your woman. She don't care about your relationship. She is the destroyer of relationships. She has come to wreck shit. Like, she doesn't care. So, like, this, and and the Venus now, and they're in Aries, and they're conjunct. So, like, we run into this issue with men in particular, because your more feminine energy, one, is conjunct with a bitch that ain't, like, is not soft. She's not the soft, like, she's not.
Lilith is not a soft ass bitch.
No,
for sure.
No. And so then you've got her and the soft bitch Venus together, and now they besties. And then on top of that, it's Aries energy, which is masculine. So then you just, and then you try to deal with people who would describe themselves as alpha males. And, then you're bringing your Aries energy to the table. And they don't really love that. They don't love it. But at the same time, like, Lilith just, like, she's not gonna let you, like, be small or cower or, like, go hide somewhere. She's like, oh no, I'm bold, honey. I'm gonna be out here, like, fuck what you heard.
You know what, though? I love that shit. I love a woman stepping into her power.
Yes.
And yeah, you know what? Sometimes it makes men feel, especially, as you said, a self-described alpha male, which, first of all, if you have to self-describe yourself as an alpha male, I don't believe you.
Okay.
Like, why do you have to tell me?
Why do you have
I
to
think
be
I should just be able to pick up on that energy, right?
Like, I love a man that can recognize women as powerful and that doesn't take away from him as a man. Like, nothing about my power takes away from your power or masculinity. Like, nothing about that. But, like, yeah, there's just, it's interesting. So I've been realizing kind of more of my power. I've been kind of, stepping back into that, and I've been getting these messages lately that are, very on point with that.
Got you into some trouble, hasn't it?
Listen, got me into some trouble, but at the same time, I'm like, now listen, y'all really need to stop playing with me, because you forget that my ass is a witch. Don't make me be a bad witch. Like, I don't want to be a
whole
bad
ass witch. A whole ass witch.
You want to play these games? You don't want to play these games. Listen, the other day, Co-Star said the headline said cast a spell. I think I saved it because I was going to send it to you, and I was like, look at Co-Star encouraging me to do dark magic.
Step into it.
Do you want to play with me for real? You don't want this. And that's not even for,
Christine's
that's not just one person.
Feminine.
I'm in my dark
feminine era.
Because people are bringing this darkness to my door, and I'm like, you know what? You're about to push me, okay? Like,
the fuck are you supposed to do with it?
I'm a nice bitch, but hey, I'm not gonna lay a finger. We're not gonna fight. I'm not about to cuss you out, really. Like, I'm not about to give you all that energy. I'm just gonna go over here in my little kitchen and do my little magic. I'm just gonna work my energy. I'm just gonna work my energy, and people walking around me all week, not even just one person avoiding me. People, I think I may have sent you a message about this yesterday, but, like, literally, our friend, like, that works with me, like, she came to my building yesterday, and she it was unplanned. So no one knew she was coming. I didn't know she was coming until she texted me. So she shows up to the building, and my administration immediately like grab her and tell her like a list of things to tell me. Now she arrived at my school in the afternoon. I had been there all morning. No one said a word.
Now, come say that shit to my face. Come say that shit to my face.
I'm like, baby, it's Aries season. Come talk to me to my face. Why would you take even the risk of it getting to another person who doesn't know what you're talking about? Then to me, direct communication.
I'm literally friends with, who's not, anyway, sorry. That's
literally, and you know what, we're cool. But this is the stuff. So I'm like, is it the Lilith energy? Like, maybe, because part of it was like, it's an intimidating energy. Like, people can be intimidated by it. And I'm like, I don't really feel like I'm intimidating, though. But I think there are some circumstances where people get really intimidated with me. Like, they don't know how to approach. And I'm like, I guess because I'm so kind and nice all the time. But, like, when you kind of get on that bad side, but I also have to, like, keep it professional. Like, people don't really know where they at with me. Right. They don't know how to approach. And it's like, because I'm reading your energy, and I'm not like, no, I'm not fucking with you. And so then they're like, well, maybe I should tell this person to tell her. Like, if you don't come talk to me, like, are you not my boss?
I feel like I'm too, I don't know. I have historically been really bad at direct communication. I think it's just the Pisces, the watery nature, and
we're terrible at it.
Cancer ascendant, it's all just like, it's all watery. Yeah. But you know what? I think having the knowledge of my birth chart and knowing that Aries Mercury is there has given me a lot more. Like, I've spent time kind of like honing that and like getting better at communication, and I think. I say that and then I just get on this podcast and ramble for however the fuck long. But, like, honestly, I think I'm getting better at direct communication, and it's just like, the better you get at it, the less tolerance you have for other people being indirect. And it is just like, I'm 31 now. I feel like I'm in my, I'm entering a different era of life. Like, I don't have time for that shit. Just say, if you have something to say, just fucking say it.
Yes. And I think, we're very, we're both Aries Mercury. So I'm like, I'm right here with you, because I'm like, I have a lot of Pisces energy, and I understand that there's a lot of, like, of me that doesn't want to confront. But when I do, when I do talk, when I do speak, it's very direct. We're gonna get on.
Christine's got a mouth on her.
We're gonna get on down to it, okay? And the mouth does, again, get me in trouble, because again, it's what the mouth do. What that mouth do. The mouth do a lot of things. It do a lot of things.
Some shit.
But it does talk some real shit, and because it's the Aries with it gives it, like, not only am I going to talk the shit, but I'm going to, like, because again, it's that masculine energy, and it's the power, right? Because now we're getting into a power struggle. So I'm not only going to do that, I'm going to make you feel just a little bit. I'm going to knock you down just a little bit. I'm going to make you just let you know.
Just a little bit.
They'll play. Like, the ego comes out real big. And that gets me into trouble.
Relatable content.
Like it.
Relatable content.
And so I'm like, maybe I just need to, maybe I don't need to date anyone. Like, maybe I just need to be myself and just be a powerful witch. I don't know.
I'm here for that energy, honestly. Like, dating is overrated, I think.
Listen, maybe I've had enough. I think I've, had a little taste, a little feel. And now I'm like, okay, I'm cool. Let me get back to doing my business over here. Like, let me get back to what I'm supposed to be doing. Cause this is a distraction. Like,
do you, should we see what CoStar has to say about it today?
Let's see what CoStar has to say. Do you want me to go?
Yeah, sure. You got it pulled up?
Yes. So, well, okay. I was like, I did. Yes, I do. It says, what emerges from experience will always be different than what you had imagined.
I feel like that's something that I needed to hear today.
Ooh. See, well, maybe it was meant for me to speak it to you.
Yeah, thank you.
But I
think I needed it.
I think that's a very, very direct to Pisces kind of message. Because, again, we love to, live in, a different reality, a fantasy. We imagine things a little differently than maybe real life is. And, experience is always the best teacher, right? Like, we're gonna figure it out through that experience.
Yeah. But I'm also, I'm hearing that for myself, but I'm also hearing that for you with this situation. It's like, the fantasy was probably never going to be exactly like how you had played it out or how you had imagined it in your mind, which is disappointing because, it's never going to be as good as it was in your head, but you're still going to be sad when it's not,
It's, it's so much disappointment. And I'm
the
sure...
definition of hurting your own feelings.
Listen. But at the same time, I'm like, there's something we're gonna see how this all shakes out. Because I'm like, the story definitely is not over, but we're gonna see how it shakes out. Because this is where it gets interesting. It's gonna be a little time passage right here, but we're gonna see what happens. But yeah, the reality of this, very, very different. And I think even for me, what I will have to get into is if this is the direction you really want to go, because there's some serious things to really think about with that as well. So where are you really at with this situation? What do you really want? Because it's not just the lovey, the imagining of this,
not just the fun parts.
Connection. It's no, there's some other things. Are you ready for these other things? Full time? What you thinking?
Danger.
Which we've seen what the solar return chart says, so I'm just saying.
Yeah.
The saga continues. But anyways, let's get into the do's and don'ts, because,
what are your do's and don'ts?
The do's say leisurely stroll.
Classic Pisces.
Morning fog. And ambient sound.
This sounds like a relaxing ass time.
Just a great, relaxing morning. Now, I will say, I don't know if I took a leisurely stroll. I did go outside during recess today, and that was a good time. Hanging out with the kids.
Yeah.
Some kids were jumping off the swings and having a contest of who could jump further. And then there was some kids I was trying to challenge to a race, not me personally, challenge them to race each other, because there's no way.
Racing.
No way in the world. Racing with children. But yeah, it was a good time. So, I feel like there was some leisurely strolling-ish energy,
Yeah,
I wasn't there as supervision, so it's always good. I mean, you're always supervision when you're there, but
sure.
I'm not the main
it's better
supervision.
When you can just enjoy the time and
yes,
engage and not have to be a disciplinarian or that kind of thing. Yeah,
so that was good. Yeah. So my don'ts: poison ivy.
Okay, yeah, never. Thank you. Although
Try
I don't
not
think
to.
I'm allergic to it.
No.
But,
We'll see. Well, we won't see. I hope we don't see.
We won't. We
won't. Non-creatures.
Okay. Question mark? What does that
Question
mean?
Question mark. I had a very interesting alien conversation today with a child who said he saw a UFO while he was on vacation at the beach. He could not tell me where he went on vacation, but he was then later said he was at a beach. I'm like, oh, so you were at a beach. Okay. So you had to be in one of these states, right? Because he's his mom, they just left and they went somewhere. And I'm like, What? Like, where did you go? And he's like, I don't know. I'm like, okay.
Imagine being a kid, like, so carefree. Like, where are we going on vacation? I don't know. Just get in the car. Just get in the fucking car. Like,
you don't know the state you
ride.
went to. You don't know where you went. We just
aspire to, like, give up control to that level to just be like, yeah, take me for a ride. I don't know where we're going. Is there going to be an alien there? Maybe. Sure.
So,
sure.
You know,
okay,
he described an alien. He's describing an aircraft. Now, see, I was with him for a minute because I'm like, look, I fuck with it. Like, come on, let's talk about it. You saw, what did you see?
They're here.
I was like, draw it for me.
Among us.
Yeah. And so he started, you know, I was like, go get the color pencils. Draw that.
There we
draw
go.
What you saw.
Show me.
Show me. It was great. And another counselor was in the room, so she's eating up too. She's like, oh yeah. See, people love being in a session with me because I'll take a tangent real quick on a kid.
You ask the right questions.
But it all works and it comes back. It's crazy how the stuff comes back.
Always.
But he drew this. Now, he told me that the UFO picked up a hill, Hill.
Okay.
And a dog.
Just the whole thing. Just
the whole, I was like a hill, a piece of earth. You know, and I'm like, me gesturing.
If I was coming from a foreign planet, I might do the same thing. You're soil sampling, you're picking up an animal.
Maybe so.
It makes sense. I'm tracking with him. I'm tracking with him, okay?
You're with him. Okay. It's the Gemini moon. Okay, because I'm like, okay, a hill,
or
all right.
Any of the Aquarius placements. It's weird. I don't know.
Aquarius, yeah. You got to be able to connect with the stuff that doesn't quite, it doesn't quite make sense to you. But like, somebody gets it.
I'm on it.
So, he said that the UFO dropped the hill, but it did not release the dog. And I was like, oh. I was like, well, somebody is very sad to be missing that dog. Somebody's
sad.
dog is gone.
You know that dog, maybe they're worshiping a dog on that planet now. Maybe he's living his best life.
He might be.
They said, this thing communicates. This thing is smarter than any of these human beings.
This is the most valuable thing we found on this planet.
That's what I got out of it. I'm
here for it. And I let him tell this whole story too. Once he was done, I was like, so, it seems like you're feeling better from the things that happened before. Seems like you're regulated. It's time to go back to class. I was like, I've really appreciated this talk. And I would really love to hear about this UFO some more. I would really love to talk about aliens with you. And we can do that some more at another time. If this is something that helps calm you down, we can talk about aliens. Not all day, but when needed.
You should bring him in like a DVD of Ancient Aliens or something and just be like, this is what we're watching today.
This is your intervention. Like, what kind of interventions are you doing in here?
Some teacher would walk in and just be like, I'm sorry, what in the fuck?
Now, I've already been doing the tuning forks on these kids, and he's one of them, so I'm like, they're going to be like, now, what are you in here doing?
What is your problem? Okay, all right.
Anyway,
Tell me to drive a boat. What are the rest of your don'ts?
Oh, sorry, okay.
Yeah.
Non-creatures and sublimation. Sublimation was my last one. So, all right, let's move forward.
Okay, all right. What do we got here? Okay. My co-star today says, be brave enough to let other people have an impact on you. So that to me is giving you stop being a stubborn ass bitch and I'm trying. Let's see. My do's include stripes. I didn't wear any stripes today. Maybe I should have. Stripes, clean nails, and multivitamins.
Oh, multivitamins.
So that's nice. I've been giving my nails a nice little break. I've had like acrylics or dip or something on them for the better part of the last 2 years.
Oh wow, not 2 years.
So I've been giving them. It has. There's been short breaks in between, but this is probably the longest. It's been about 2 months that I've had them clean. Trying to keep them nice. probably going to go get them done tomorrow because it's been long
look
enough.
at ya.
But today, clean nails. We got clean nails. I got my multivitamins right here next to the little nightstand situation. Just giving clean slate.
Covered. I love it.
Take care of yourself.
Self-care.
So my don'ts include grifts. So no grifts. Also something I don't ever want to do ever. Grifts, follow the leader, or face value.
Oh. Dig deep.
So it's I'm feeling like, don't just blind trust. Don't just, cult leader don't fall into the cult. Like, it's saying watch out,
don't fall
that
into
kind
the
of
cult,
shit.
girl.
It's so easy. You know what? I never
easy.
understand people who are like, I can never join a cult. I feel like I have several times.
We've already talked. I mean, like, I've identified the cult, my cult of choice. Like, if I'm gonna be in one, this is the one I would have been in. Like, they look like they were having a great time.
They really did. You know what? It's not so bad.
Sometimes it's like, what is really the issue? The issue becomes, again, power. It's power. That's the only thing. Like,
it's all about power and control. If these cult leaders could get their shit together and not just get drunk on power and be assholes, cults are fine.
They really are. The commune is great.
Hot take.
Yes.
The commune lifestyle.
The commune lifestyle's great. Everybody's fucking each other. Everybody's, like, it's a good time. We're dancing.
Of course, that's the first thing you say. Everybody's fucking each other. Of course. But also,
it's true, right? Like, that's what be happening. Everyone's living there together. We're having, like, community, like, sing-along, dance time, community meditation. People are just in their best energy and, and they feel very sexual. And so they're just all, we're free. Let's love on each other. And so,
why not?
I feel like it's great. Like, let's have more of that. Just without the power and control.
Exactly. But, sex is power, so it's
Again,
complicated, right?
We're
it's
humans.
It's a whole power game.
We don't know how to do it
can't
without.
help ourselves.
Yeah.
We really don't. We really don't. On that note, would you like to take a really quick break, and then we'll come back with some relatable content?
Let's take a break.
Welcome back, y'all.
Hey.
We're here for some relatable content. Not a lot in the relatable content streets this week, but I got a few things that I just wanted to share.
Okay.
Guess who actually half-assed a podcast outline this week?
Hey.
This is a Shelby produced episode. And I'm, like I said, it's been a weird time for me. So, I just told Christine off mic, like, if I say anything stupid, just tell me. It's fine. Just tell me that's not right. Forever in my bimbo
got this,
era.
Girl. Yes. You got this.
Okay, so as we talked a little bit about last week, also, I know it's past now, but happy birthday, Christine.
Oh, thank you, girl. Yes.
Yes, I know we talked about it in the last episode, but I have not said officially on the pod, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you,
blessed
friend.
solar return to you.
Yes, come on, blessed solar return. It was blessed.
It was it? Okay.
It was. It was.
But, as if you've been following the pod for any length of time, you know that when it's Christine's birthday, that also means it's the beginning of Aries season. So, happy Aries season to our little Aries babies. I came across a couple of tweets that made me laugh, just in terms of, welcoming in Aries season. So let me pull them up for us real quick. All right. So the first one, and now I can't find it. I was going to read the handle, and of course I can't. But the tweet just said, "I love when I find a bitch find a bad bitch, and then discover that she's an Aries." Because it's like it seems like it happens a lot.
Hello.
There's a lot of bad bitches.
Yeah,
Okay, very fiery energy.
Yeah,
coming right at you.
Sounds like you want that energy. Like you gotta decide what you want.
There you go. Oh my god, sorry, my internet's going so slow. I'm not gonna be able to pull up any of these fucking tweets now. Okay, there we go. Oh, here it is. Okay. And then of course it's like a handle that like it doesn't make sense to read out loud. Monibo just said, "I love when a bitch bad and she a Aries," and I'm just like, yeah,
See?
same. I love that as well.
Yes. Look, I like.
Shout
I'm
out
just...
to.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead with your shout out.
Oh, I was just going to say shout out to Taylor, our very first guest on the podcast, and Aries Queen, who is indeed a bad bitch.
Yes. Yes. We love it. Like, look, I'm like, I have no shade. Like, as many Aries placements as I have, you know, they are very activated right now. So I'm like, we love it. We love it. Chop a man down.
Always. Speaking of that, our next tweet is a tweet from Roxy Tarot on Twitter, and it's a meme, but it just says, "This is Aries culture," and the meme is just two cartoon cats fighting with each other, and it says, "My love language is gentle acts of violence."
Absolutely. A little light sparring. Accurate? Yeah, like a little light fight, you know, like nothing too heavy.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's fun that way, and I feel like my Aries Mercury specifically loves to interact with other people who have Aries placements in that sort of like shit talking kind of like I'm gonna just throw a little shade here and there, and then you're gonna give it right back to me, and it's gonna be a fun time.
It's gentle
acts.
And so, you know, again, when I tie that in with the Venus and now the Lilith, I think we talked about before, like sometimes that fight, just like that energy just kind of turns me on. I just like, now I want to have sex. Like, let's do it
so
now.
Toxic.
We had a great fight. It's so toxic.
What's up with that? Like, why
fun.
is it actually kind of sexy? Like,
it's the energy, because it's passion. Like, you get to argue with somebody, there's passion, and now there's that energy present, and you're like, let's fuck. Like, let's go ahead and make up. Like, it's gonna be great.
Ooh. Okay, so for those of you who have been following the podcast and are, in fact, playing the drinking game in which Christine's Aries Venus comes out in a sexual way, how many is that? Is that 5?
You should probably be drunk already by now. Yeah, you should have a nice
Please
buzz
drink
going.
responsibly.
Yeah, maybe not drunk, but just, you know, yeah, you should probably be in a good space.
Okay, another... Oh my god, I'm just going to read this one just for the tweet handle alone, because the tweet handle is Drake of Lesbians. We were just talking about the lesbian community.
We were talking about toxic
just a moment ago.
And we were just talking about the lesbian community. Oh,
we love you guys. We were indeed talking about being toxic, but this just says, y'all get your heart broke and just start dating anybody. The fuck are you doing with an Aries? And like, that's just a funny tweet, but then the addition of like, what the fuck are you doing with an Aries cracked me up.
Because you know what? You already know what that is. Like, and if you are recently out of a relationship, okay, no offense to my Aries. Again, I got it in me, so I get it. I have the energy. But if you are finding yourself with an Aries, that is probably not the right energy.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's
very sexual. It's, you know, like you're about to get very sexually enmeshed with somebody. You know, there's a lot of passion. You're gonna fall. You're gonna get into it. And like, that's really probably not the energy you need, right? You need to stay to yourself. Save yourself for a minute, because that Aries is not for you, sis. Not the first one that you find.
Right.
Like,
right. It's
oh.
it's maybe if it's, well, I don't know. I was about to say maybe if it's just like a little fling, it could be fun. But also I'm like, yeah, it's probably not a good idea. So relatable
It's
content.
the passion. It's the passion, because it's not just like, you might be, maybe not a Scorpio. I don't know. I'm like, you might be better with a Scorpio as a fling, but maybe just like a Sag. A Sag. You need a Sag as a fling. A good time, not for a long time. Yes. They're not going to hang on, because the Aries is going to also, they kind of feeling passionate about you too. They catch feelings. Aries
they're
does catch feelings. Yes. And so they're going to get a little bit attached. That's not what you need right after. You don't need that. Get you a Sag. They're going to leave.
That's right.
Just be prepared. They are going to leave.
Without a doubt.
And that's what you need.
Exactly. Okay, so I've got one final tweet. I just realized that this tweet roundup is actually just me talking shit on Aries, and I don't mean to. I love so many of them, and I have the placements myself. I truly love them.
Yeah, it's a roast. Again, Aries likes to be roasted. A playful roast.
A playful roast. This last tweet comes from Notorious Topher, and Notorious Topher says, "It's getting warmer outside because all the Aries are ascending from hell."
Well,
and that made me laugh. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
And that is our Welcome to Aries season tweet roundup.
Woo! Yes. We are here. It's hot.
We're here. It's hot, and we love it.
We love it.
So, just a couple other things, again, because this is a me-produced episode. I'm sure I'm going to get some of this shit wrong, but I just thought, let me take a stab at trying to give you just a little bit of, like, the astrology of right now.
Come on.
So we've been talking about, obviously we talked, several weeks ago about how my Saturn return is over. So Saturn is no longer in Aquarius. And I've been seeing a lot of content creators. I mostly spend a lot of time on TikTok, the TikTok astrology community. Shout out to y'all. But I've been seeing a lot about just like what it means now that Saturn is in Pisces. Mm-hmm. And I got one served to me today that I was like, this feels specific.
Oh.
But it also, was good information, I think, for the general public to have. So now that Saturn is in Pisces, so all of our Saturn and Pisces people are going through their Saturn return. So first of all, like, let's check in. How are y'all doing? I know that, my Saturn return was rough. So hope y'all are okay out there.
It's early.
It's very early.
Hopefully
obviously
it hasn't been too rough
fine.
Yet.
I didn't think that mine was that bad, and then I was like, oh, it's over, it's fine, it's great, and then it really fucked me. But maybe yours started out rough. I don't know. I'm just sending some good vibes to y'all in your Saturn return.
Sending all the vibes. You got a couple years, like about 2.5. So, like, really, buckle in. It might not, and it's not going to be bad the whole time. It's just like, it's going to be some shit. Some shit is going to go down. Everyone has it.
Just expect it.
Just be ready.
If you think you're in the clear, you're not.
Yes. Go ahead, get yourself a therapist if you don't have one. Get
Great
that
idea.
popping. Like, journal, just get into your self-care rituals. Like,
Yes.
You're going to make it through, but some shit's going to go down. It's fine.
Exactly. So I wanted to say that, first of all, for everybody in there going through their Saturn return in Pisces, it's just barely started. We'll continue to check in over the next couple years. Fingers crossed we're still doing the podcast, okay?
Yes, come on.
And then I also just wanted to talk a little bit about, so someone, now I'm not going to be able to remember. If I find the TikTok, I'll put their name in the show notes. But they just talked a lot about, like, what lessons come out of Saturn being in Pisces. Mm-hmm. And one of the biggest things was just talking about, like, letting go of the victim mentality. And, you know, as much as I hate that characterization of Pisces, like, it is a thing that, like, in my worst times I definitely have fallen into and
Absolutely.
do fall into.
Yes.
So, you know, with the life changes that I'm dealing with right now, I just keep having, that's been a mantra for me lately, of just being like, I'm not a fucking victim. Mm-hmm. Stop acting like a victim. Like, you are making these choices. Own your choices and just be okay with them. And if I can own that, then other people will too. Yes. So I just kind of wanted to offer that up to the world for anybody who needed to hear it, because I did.
Yeah. Look, I mean, it's a, I think as a Pisces, it's like a constant maybe not a constant conversation, but a conversation you have to have with yourself from time to time. Like, hey, bitch, no, you are not a victim here. Like, right. You're sad because of your choices. Whether, right. You know, whether the choices were good or bad, or whether they, you know, whether you wanted to make, whatever the choices. But, like, you're just feeling things, you know, like, it's fine. You're not gonna play the victim here. You know, no woe is me. Like, pick yourself up. Like, let's keep it moving. Like, yeah. It's just part of it. But you gotta check yourself. It is. That's the thing. You gotta check yourself. You gotta check yourself.
Yeah. That's been, I think, and sometimes I also totally understand that sometimes you do just need to sit and be sad for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I think last week I was in that. I was, like, not really in a great space. And now I'm just like, nope, all right, I felt it. We're good. We're moving forward. We're moving on. We've got it. I have a plan. Mm-hmm. We're good. I will be okay. And I am not a fucking victim in this. So, you know, take that for what it's worth.
Yeah. Like, we all have to catch it from time to time. Like, you know, hey, I was wallowing a little bit there.
Yeah.
I had to check myself, you know, but also, again, we do have to feel, and it's the balance, right? It's the balance of feeling the things and not tipping over into, like, oh, it's the worst. Like, my life, it's so terrible for me, you know? Yeah. But it's so easy to get into that space, because I love that space. Like, it's the worst. Yes. Like, oh my God.
Yeah. Emo for life.
Emo for life. Oh my God.
Sorry.
So yeah.
Phase. So that's my little note about Saturn and Pisces. And then the last thing that I wanted to bring up, so I'm pretty sure it is happening today, that Pluto moves into Aquarius after being in Capricorn for a long time. I'm saying this like a question to Christine.
She's saying this a question. Right? I'm like shaking my head like, girl, I don't know. Okay, today is March 23rd.
Okay, today is March 23rd. So, okay, let me get this right. I think what's going to happen is Pluto is in Aquarius until June, and then it retrogrades. And then it retrogrades.
Okay, and then it retrogrades back.
And then yes, and then it's in Aquarius until 2043.
Oh, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, shit.
Because it's like
also it's 2023. Okay, yeah. You know what? My mind just was like, whoa, that's a long time. I'm like, it's 20 years.
It's 20 years.
My mind was blown. I was like, 2043. Oh my God. I'm like, that's 20 years from now, girl.
And
You'll still be here, hopefully.
It's like way the fuck out there. Yeah, we'll still be here in 20 years. That's, yes, without a doubt.
God willing.
That's right. So I did just like some light research about that. So it's been in Capricorn since about 2008, which also didn't make sense to me with the numbers, but like I think around 2008 is when it moved into Capricorn.
Okay.
And that kicked off like the financial crisis, like the 2008 housing collapse and all of that. And so, you know, Pluto's great destruction, you know, go listen to that episode if you haven't already. About the United States Pluto return.
Yeah.
So thinking about Capricorn, you think about like financial systems and structures and that kind of thing. And so Pluto being in Capricorn over the last 20 years or so, we've really seen a lot of those structures come down, or at least like get kind of revealed for what they are.
Absolutely.
You know, we're in the middle of another banking crisis right now. Like, yeah, it's pretty clear that like this shit over here, especially in the United States, is just being held up by sticks. Like, just kick that shit right out from under it.
Right.
So Pluto and Capricorn really showed us that, really revealed a lot for us.
Absolutely.
And now we're going to be in Aquarius, a very revolutionary energy. A lot of change, a lot of like, you know, other shit happening. Big future energy. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of curious. Like, do you have any thoughts about what that will mean, or like any predictions, anything on your astrology bingo card for the next 20 years in terms of Pluto?
Not my astrology bingo card. So, you know, when we talk about like Pluto and Aquarius, you know, I think the thing that comes up for me is thinking about, again, that the ruler of Aquarius is Uranus, and then of course the traditional ruler is Saturn. But like thinking about all of that kind of energy together. So generally we think about Pluto and Uranus, like Pluto tends to be like major changes, and then Uranus tends to be a sudden change. So then we bring those energies together. And so we could have a lot of different kinds of changes happening that are very major. You know, or we could have few, you know, but changes will be coming. That is definitely what's coming up. And anytime Pluto is involved, change is coming regardless. It's just kind of how and where that affects us. So, I mean, I'm sure that technology is going to be one of those things. And I mean, we see the things we've been building.
All this
as
AI
far as
shit.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything that's been happening with technology in the last 20 years. Like, we've been building towards some very interesting, different things, but also can be used in very nefarious ways. Like, but that also is going to be exposed, right? So Pluto's, again, it's going to bring it to the light, but also that means things are going to have to kind of crash first. So we think about the financial crisis. Are we going to have like a technology crisis? Are we going to have, you know, like how is that going to play out?
Go ahead and download your favorite episodes of this podcast now, just in case.
Right. I mean, something that's very true. Something major is going to happen within these areas, and I mean, technology has to be an obvious place. See, because we just move faster and faster and faster through this technological age. That I think that's going to be a huge piece of the Pluto and Aquarius. But I mean, there'll be other things. You know, Aquarius also affects like groups and communities, like kind of friends. Again, like not your like best friends, your closest friends, but like groups of friends. You know, so see where that happens in your chart, how that lines up with your natal chart. But yeah, it's going to be some interesting energy.
Some interesting energy, for sure. Well, that's all the relatable content I have so far. Yeah, hopefully that gave you a little bit of insight about what's to come.
I love it. I love a good transit review.
Yeah. Do you want to take another quick little break and we'll come back with our meets?
Yes, let's get ready for the meet, y'all.
Meets. All right, y'all, we'll be right back.
All right, y'all. We are back. I am so sorry. As soon as we came in, I forgot that it was me.
I do this every time. I'm
Oh
like,
my
oh wait,
God.
oh shit, it's my turn. It's my turn. Okay, all right.
We're here. We just talked about this. So, okay, welcome back to it's time for the meat, y'all. Like, we're hungry, right? Like, clearly we are starved. So
Okay, don't put a lot of pressure on it because these are some pretty light meats, but
hey, we just need, it doesn't, we can have a little tenderloin, okay? Like,
okay.
it's still
Thanks.
nice. So, okay, y'all, we have a special session of the meats today, a special selection, a special cuts, private selection here. Shelby has a special
Shout out
for
Kroger.
us today. Yes, come on, Kroger, private selection.
Sorry.
She's just gonna
I'm
call
sober.
out my reference. Like, it's fine.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. That was I can't think of the words private selection together and not think about a fucking Kroger.
About Kroger. Shout out to
I miss
Kroger.
Is it weird? I miss Kroger. I don't live in Tennessee anymore, so we don't have Kroger here, and I kind of miss it. Anyway.
Grocery stores have their own vibe, so I do understand that. Now, you clearly had a different experience with Kroger than some. So.
Oh, it's not good. It's not. I never liked going there, but like for some reason I still kind of miss it. I don't know. It's like a love-hate. I love grocery stores. Exactly. There was always something fucking weird going on in there. It didn't really matter which one I went to. But then
even
one
the
time
upscale ones.
Okay, the upscale ones. One time I went into the one on Edmondson Pike. Shout out. Local jokes get local work.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, sorry. I gotta not do that. Anyway, I found the Monstera that is in my living room now that is massive was like $12 in there one day. And it's just like, just so many good little plant accessories and plants and whatever.
Let me tell you something. As a side note to a gorgeous Monstera, I was in Kroger. It was yesterday. I was in there buying flowers, and I'm standing there with my flowers about ready. I'm like, okay, I gotta go because I gotta get gas also before I go to work. So I'm standing here and I'm looking at this Monstera. I walk past, they have this plant set up that they're about to put out, I guess. And I see these Monsteras, and I see this one sitting here, and I'm like, okay. And I look at the price. I'm like, it's $16.99. Can I take this with me right now?
Why didn't you get it?
Girl, I gotta go back. I'm probably gonna go back tomorrow. Maybe I'll go back after work because I'm like, they can't like sell out right in 3 days. Like, but I'm like, I gotta go back and get one of these Monsteras. Like, under $20. When? Where?
I feel like I rescued it. Like, I feel like I rescued it from the fucking pound or something. Like, it is the best plant. And all I did was just repot it and give it a little bit of love. I also have a rubber tree. Oh my God, I saved a rubber tree a couple of years ago. It was like it was like fall, and you could tell like the end of summer plants. They were just like, here, get rid of this shit. They were all just outside, and it was like just starting to get cold outside, and all their tropical plants were just like chilling outside. I was just like, what are you doing? You can't put these out here.
Goodness.
It's like 30 degrees.
No.
And anyway, I have a rubber tree with the little pink, leaves on it and stuff. And I'm like, this is a really nice plant, but it was like on its deathbed out there. And you know what? I put that shit outside in the summertime. It loves it. It's like, yeah. Anyway, I should have just stolen all of them. I like went inside and paid for it. And I was like, they were literally just going to throw these away. They're like outside anyway. Like, why did I pay for this? But whatever. It was still severely discounted, and I love it. So anyway, I've been neglecting my plants, so I really should not be talking about plants right now because like they're not looking great, but like
we go through things sometimes.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay.
What is the status of my mental health? I don't know. When was the last time I watered my plants?
Ask my plants. That's a key. Like, I've gone through. I mean, I've literally basically killed all of my plants after having many of them for years. And
a whole jungalo.
Whole jungalo, and like that shit, I let that all of it like die, because that's where I was.
It's easy to do. It's easy to do. It's like
yes,
you just neglect, and they're not. If you don't have to go in the room where they are, you're just like, oh no, I'm not checking for that shit.
And then you start avoiding it, because then you're like, oh God, and you feel, because you're gonna feel bad, and you don't want to feel bad, so you avoid going there at all. At the poor plants,
it's a vicious cycle. It's a vicious cycle.
Oh my God.
And sometimes they just die, and it's not your fault, and you have been taking care of them, and they just, you don't know what they want. They're just too needy. But sometimes you just go through a little teeny tiny depression phase. Just a little bit. It's big sad girl phase, and your plants die.
Yeah. And then you rebuild. Okay. I mean, I'm starting to rebuild. I mean, you only see one in the camera with me right now, but, I'm starting to rebuild my little, jungalo, and I'm, of course, I'm planning out the apartment, and, again, one of these snaps that you will see later on.
I can't wait. I'm going to get an apartment tour.
Yes. I'm like, okay, I have western facing light. So afternoon sun. I've already planned out how the sun moves through the space. So this is where the plants can live, girl. It's crazy. I mean, all right. So we've gone on this plant tangent. I love it.
Yeah, sorry. Remember when I said this was going to be a short episode? It might still be. It might still be a short episode. We'll see. If
we can help.
Yeah, okay. Shall I introduce our topic?
Yes, Shelby. What are we talking about today?
Okay, so, first of all, if you follow us on social media, hopefully you know this by now, and you might have had a little time to prepare. If not, no big deal. We're not going to go too in depth today. We're just kind of introducing our topic, and we're going to make this a series that you can follow along with later. But we are doing a little astrology book club situation.
Yay, book club!
Yeah. So I got this book. This book was a gift that I got not too long ago. And I just we had talked about maybe doing an astrology book club before. We actually... That was one of the very first things that we started talking about when we started the podcast. And we both started this book, and we were like, too advanced. I'm not ready.
It was way deep. I was like, whoa, this is...
We were getting this... Even now that I know so much more, I think if I read that book, I would be like, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm still not ready. It was very dense, very academic.
Yes.
It just wasn't podcast material. Y'all have listened to this podcast before. We'll give you some good information, but also we are having fun.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And that would be a very heavy read.
It's a fucking dissertation. That book is a dissertation. So this
I'm going to read it at some point. It is interesting, but it is,
it is. I do want to.
Yeah.
Just not in that space. What did I say? I'm in my bimbo era.
Yes, we're a book club. We're aunties here. Aunties read fun books. We don't read.
Yes. It's not an erotic novel. Oh my God. Okay, I'm so sorry. Ooh. This is a very quick tangent. Yes. But my friend Katie the other day was telling me, first of all, she's hilarious. Second of all, she was telling me that she's like, I'm interested in joining a book club, but the last time I tried to join a book club, it was a friend of a friend, and she was like, oh yeah, so-and-so just picked this book, and everybody bought the book and read it, and Katie was like, oh, the book was a gay romance novel, two men romance novel, and very graphic.
Oh.
And she was like, this is just not what I thought it was going to be. Because the book club is just a bunch of straight women, or
Yeah.
I don't want to presume everyone's sexuality, but it seems to be everyone is just a bunch of straight women.
Did they not know, or did they know and they were just like, ooh,
okay. Then she said, like, we keep not scheduling the book club, but like I read the book, so I want to show up and be like, all right, like, why did you pick this? Did you know it was going to be like this? Did you not know, and then you read it and you realized the mistake that you made, and now you're just embarrassed to schedule the book club meeting? Like, everyone has now read this fucking gay erotica book, and everyone's just like chilling, like no one's talked about it yet, and I'm just like, I don't know. It just felt like her life sometimes feels like a sitcom when she tells me about it, and I'm like, this is a very funny episode. That shit made me laugh so hard.
Wow. Imagine. Like, everyone's avoiding the book.
Imagine.
Like, ooh, we've read this. Ooh, we don't know what to say.
And how do you have a book club about... I mean, I guess you can if it is advertised as that kind of book club, and we all want to read some fucking porn, basically.
Yeah.
And then we want to talk about it. That's cool. But I want to know. It was not advertised as such?
Yeah. Like, I mean, I feel like, I don't know. I think that's part of the craft of forming a book club and, like, being on the same page. Like, we want to make sure, you, especially if you're reading, like, if you're reading erotica, like, you know, you want everyone
to very important.
Yeah, be on the same page about that's what we're reading and we're cool with it. Like, because some people, that's, not going to be their cup of tea. I love erotica, of course. Of course. We found out I used to write erotica, so, like, love it.
But, I'm waiting for that era to come back, okay? I want smut era Christine back.
Listen, last night I went to this show, and I was like, there was just, like, this moment, I was just like, I feel, again, like, that, like, old Christine, like, she's coming back. Not
Doesn't it feel good to get yourself back?
Yes. And I felt it this morning, again. That's why I'm like, this powerful energy. I'm just like, I'm just feeling myself. Like, I'm feeling myself. I'm feeling her. So,
yes. Ooh, yes. Okay.
Yes.
Entering into Aries season, like, feeling very good. I think we're on a similar energy right now. I've been paying a lot more attention recently to, like, it's probably too much information for the pod, but, like, like, what kind of cycle my body is in, and I'm definitely like probably ovulating right now, and I can always tell because I'm always just like, oh, I look so good today. It's like I know exactly what's happening in my body. Like, the brain chemicals are just making me feel that way. But I feel very similarly just overall as of late, that I'm just, like, kind of back into my own personality, and it feels really good. And the book that we are about to talk about is going to tap into that a little bit, I think.
Hey,
so
yes.
Look at connections.
Come on, make that
Tangents,
connection.
They come around. Coming around.
We love it. We love it.
Okay, so let me actually introduce the book that we're talking about 20 minutes in.
That part.
So this book is called Magickal Astrology by Skye Alexander. And that, just to be clear, is magic spelled Magickal. So different kind of magic, right? Magickal Astrology. And today, I'm just going to give you, like, a little bit of an overview, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the first chapter in the introduction. But like I said, we won't go too in depth. We want to give everybody a chance to catch up. If you want to follow along with us, we'll probably do another episode in a couple weeks of this series, or maybe we'll make some bonus content out of it, just kind of following along. So
check in,
exactly. Okay, so we're starting with this concept, right? Magickal astrology. So, Christine, what comes to mind when you hear that? Like, what's first thing? Just name any words.
Just, just a combination, combining, astrology with, some magic, some magic work, some ritual, some spell work, some, different things like that.
And what did we just talking about? We were literally just talking about Christine being a whole ass witch. So
whole ass witch.
It falls in line. It falls in line.
It's my kind of book.
Yes. So I feel like it's maybe important that we like set sort of a definition for magic, right?
Sure,
Because it
yes.
feels like if you're not really in the realm of like this sort of, I don't know, if you're not in this kind of magical witchcrafty realm of things,
Mm-hmm.
um, you might think about magic as like, you know, some dude at a kid's birthday party with a wand who pulls rabbits out of hats, and, you know, or
Mm-hmm.
like street magic, like people do card tricks and shit on the street,
Mm-hmm.
like David
Mm-hmm.
Blaine or all that kind of
Right.
shit.
Just kind of
That is not what we were talking about. Okay, that is sleight of
right.
hand.
Yes, that is
That's not it.
there's like a full there's they have like a certain term now, but it's what like illusion artists or whatever, like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like that yeah, that's very much what that is, right? Definitely
Mm-hmm.
not magic in this,
Not
definitely
this
not
kind
with a
of
K.
magic.
Not with
Not
magic
with a
with a
K.
K. Mm-mm.
Certainly not with a K. Right? So, you know, don't be scared of it. Really, what we mean when we say that, and I took this definition straight from the book. Um, so, consciously creating circumstances by manipulating energy, right? So, all the things that Christine just described, we kind of make our own magic, we make our own luck through ritual and different witchcraft practices and shamanism, and you know, some people have like use sex magic and
Mm-hmm.
feng shui and eastern practices. There's like all of these different things that can be considered under this umbrella term of magic, right?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
um so along with that, one of the very first things that I noticed when I read the intro to the book, they quoted it's some sort of a Buddhist quote that I'm sure has been bastardized because, you know, over and over that shit gets
Yeah.
changed around. But essentially, like, we are what we think, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even just like manifestation and the way that we think about things, the way that we talk about things really changes the energy of things and how they happen and how they come to us.
Yeah.
Also, that shit's just like been proved by science because we've got, you know, our quantum physics out here showing us that like things change based on the energy that we give them. Things change based on whether we observe them or not. Like, I don't know. This is where I was like, I need to not eat an edible before this episode because I could very easily
I
go
could just
off into
take
some
this.
like weird, heady, like.
But listen, that I mean, that's why we're here. That's why we're here on the
That is
astrology
why we're here.
podcast.
We are on the astrology podcast,
We
right?
are Pisces. We are like
We are.
you knew what you were coming to. You clicked on it.
You knew.
Pisces.
You knew. So that is kind of how we're defining magic in this context. Also, just feels very important to note, and as the author did in the intro to this book, lots and lots of different cultures have their own individual kind of magic practices. They may call them different things, but just like different cultural practices and backgrounds using their own varieties of magic. This particular author notes that she like mostly draws in her personal practice from like Wiccan and neo-pagan kind of traditions, which are consistent with her Celtic heritage. But also, you know, a lot of that stuff just kind of gets blended in, and especially in modern context, we're all kind of like using these like Eastern practices, like
Yeah.
yoga, and like we talked about tuning forks and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like all of these things kind of melded, but it's really important that we're acknowledging where all these things came from,
Absolutely.
that sort of thing.
Yes.
So I just felt like we should give that disclaimer
I
before we
love
start
it.
talking.
Yes. Yes.
We didn't make this shit up. This shit is ancient. This shit has been around
Right.
forever. People have been doing this for centuries.
Centuries, thousands of years.
So, those two things said, I'm curious about, you know, Christine, a whole ass witch over here.
Mm.
What kind of practices do you use in your regular, like, day-to-day life that you would consider magic?
So, in my day to day, I get into more of like ritual practice. Like I'm very much like into like I do my candles, do my incense. When I feel it's needed, I work with sage. I work with Palo Santo. I work with crystals. Um, a combination of things. But I feel like I don't. It's a blend of things. Of course, there are things that I practice, that are specific, like yoga, and read there. There, just different readings that I get into. Definitely do, astrology study, even though again that's not necessarily magic or well in and of itself,
Right.
but just kind of more rituals as far as just like energy. I do work with flowers and work with nature, just in different ways. I work with herbs. Now I don't work with herbs every day. I do work with a herb every day, but
That one herb.
I do work with a very specific herb daily. But I work with other herbs that work with this herb very well. I'm looking forward to getting back to that. I was just thinking earlier about like, I'm gonna have space for my little apothecary in my kitchen, and I have all my herbs and stuff, and yeah, like I'm looking forward to getting back into that more. But doing like baths and spiritual baths, and there's lots of different things. But that's what I get into as far as some of my rituals and practices.
Yeah, no, that's like kind of exactly what I was looking for. Like, I think everybody has their own little kind of magical rituals, whether they realize that they are or not. And I think just like having the intentionality behind like, yes, this is a ritual that I do every single day. It is very important to me. It helps me like kind of settle myself and ground myself into a space, or like put me into a specific energy. Like that is you doing magic. So I just kind of, I don't know, I think we are all kind of doing some of those things without even necessarily acknowledging all the time. So yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Yes, of course.
And I guess I was gonna ask like where a lot of those come from for you. Like what did that stem from, or like how did you start doing some of those things? I don't know.
So a lot of it is like things that I've more intuitively connected with. So one of the earliest things I could kind of think about is like incense. And it's funny because as a kid, I was drawn to incense, and I remember taking it home, like literally being in middle school, going to Claire's with my best friend. We were always finding things in there that we wanted, of course. And whatever time they were selling incense. It's so...
That's a weird choice for Claire's, but okay.
Right?
Good
Yes.
for them.
Yes. We go through these phases in like the kind of fad stores. Like, I mean, you can go to Five Below now and find incense and sage and stuff. It's like,
That's true.
okay.
Tarot cards. And
right. I'm like, now what's
shit.
going on? Right. At the Five Below.
Right.
But I love it. Like, I go there all the time to get stuff. Well, not my sage and stuff, but like my my astrology
Source
books. Yeah. Like, not that, but but hey, great for the kids. Like, let them get the cheap stuff. Let them start on their cheap incense. Like, you can
experiment on that hippie shit, right?
Yeah. You can step your game up later. Like, you can. Yeah, it's a learning curve. So that's I burned it at home. My dad freaked out. Like, what are you burning in this house? Immediately made me put it out. Like, no, you cannot burn it. Like, they're like, no incense. Like, So I did not reconnect with incense until I was an adult, but like I burn incense like a crazy person. It's always burning. I have so much incense at home. Like I keep like a small store for myself, so I never run
Yes.
out.
As you
And
should.
every time I'm
As you
at the
should.
store, I buy more. So it just continues to replenish, and I have all different kinds. But like that was one of the early things, and there are other things I kind of picked up on. Of course, we've talked about on here. I was raised Christian,
Mm-hmm.
the Baptist church,
Mm-hmm.
so there were a lot of things had to kind of uh, come to me or like come back to me. I've had a lot of memories of things, like a lot of things one of my grandmothers, my mother's mother, would say. And I remember being a kid and like my parents just kind of brushing it off like, oh, that's just superstition. And one of the things that
Mm.
I've come to realize in my own like personal study, is that a lot of those superstitions, especially like things that we consider superstitious in the Black community, actually come from very like African religious practices, and
Oh.
traditional religions. And so it's very interesting to like
Yeah.
reconnect with some of the things that I remember her saying that we would just kind of
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, whatever, whatever, and like things that I very much connect with now. And so now, my grandma was not a witch or anything like her, not, she did not practice an African traditional religion, but I think one of the things about that is like that information still gets passed down
Right. Right.
even though we don't connect it because we've connected with another religion that how
Mm-hmm.
that came about. But
Mm-hmm.
that information still and it gets watered down a
It's
little bit
ingrained.
along the way, but yeah, it still
It's in the genetics.
it gets passed down. And so I think there's a movement or a resurgence of a lot of people um, reconnecting with some of
Mm-hmm.
those traditional practices and ancestral practices. And so some of that is like comes from that angle as well. I've
Mm-hmm.
definitely got into some different deities, as far as that's
Mm-hmm.
concerned. And so, I got my little altar set up. I got some different things happening, but
Yes.
yeah, like yeah, I mean, definitely, I would encourage people to understand, yeah, like your cultural practices and kind of where those connections are. Tune into self, like
Mm-hmm.
think back on some of your memories, like maybe some of these things, that your crazy girl mama was talking about or whatever. Like maybe it
Maybe
wasn't
they
so
were onto
crazy.
something. Okay, maybe they were onto something. Yeah, that's really funny that you say that because like I my grandmother on one side I don't really remember a whole lot of that kind of stuff with her, but my grandmother that's still alive, she's a wild lady. She's really interesting, but like just like really small stuff like like I remember my dad always having Buckeyes, like those little things, and being like, "Oh yeah, these are good luck," and they were like things that he got from his grandparents, and like
Mm-hmm.
carrying around rabbit's feet and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Oh
that
yeah.
also just I remember being a kid and being like, "What's this?" And he's like, "Oh, that's my lucky rabbit's foot," and then my grandma gave me that, and it was just like, "Oh, like." Where does that come from? Like, what is that? What is that culture? Like, who decided that
That
we were doing that?
rabbit's
Like,
foot. Girl, I think you missed that. I mean, you must have been very small. Like, listen, the rabbit's foot was a trend. I
was it a trend?
remember,
Oh my god, okay.
yes, I remember being in school. I don't remember what age. Maybe it was elementary school. And it was like the thing. Everybody had a rabbit's foot. And then they started making color ones. And then they said, like, they were doing all kinds of stuff with them rabbit's foot. Oh my God, that was what a memory. Someone just brought up
I
another
must have just
memory.
missed that. That's
Yes,
so funny.
like that's so great. The rabbit's foot. Continue. Okay, I'm not gonna tangent
No,
on the
no, no. I
rabbit's
mean,
foot.
that was really just. I just think about shit like that I've heard. Yeah, older people say and just been like, what the fuck are you talking about? But then, you know, being like, like on second thought, like, where is that? What does that come from? And I don't know. I just think that shit is really interesting. Anyway, this is not what even the book is about. I just like got on a tangent about this because I was like, I kind of want to know, like, what do you consider?
We talked about practices and rituals. We're not tangent. Yeah. We just talked a little long. It's fine.
There we go. Yeah, no. We're still in it. It's a discussion, okay? It's a book club. We're discussing. Hello. The book is bringing up themes, and we are discussing the themes.
Hello. I mean, you're here listening to a podcast, so I mean, if you don't like to listen to people talk, this is probably not the genre of entertainment.
What are you doing here?
For you.
Exactly. I will bring it back around just to say, like, okay, so the connection of this book is like, okay, we've kind of explored this realm of magic, so to speak.
Yes.
But the connection between astrology and magic, and that is kind of what this whole book is about. So how do we use our own personal astrology and the astrology that's kind of like happening around us to kind of manipulate that energy to work for us, right? And that's just kind of the general theme of the book. But one of the things that she talks about is the connection here is that astrology and these kind of magical practices are both what she calls links between universal forces and the earthly experience, which I just think is a really lovely way to say it, right? Because these things are happening around us, like this energy exists around us, whether we acknowledge it or not. It's just a matter of like what kind of intentionality and practice we put behind it in order to kind of make it work for us and for our goals. And similarly with astrology is happening whether we know it or not, right?
Again,
it is happening. And, you know, if, like, we're more aware of it and we kind of, you know, use that intentionally, not necessarily to say that we don't have any free will, because I do think that we do.
Yes.
But, like, what we choose to do with the energy we're presented with kind of gives us this ability to move forward, right?
Yep.
So.
Well put.
That's the connection. Thank you. Again, this is why I'm like really trying. I was like, do not take an edible because you won't be able to say any of this in a way that is clear. Okay? We're sober today.
We're sober today. Meanwhile, I'm over here just puffing away, just like, oh.
That's okay. You can take it easy today. Like I said, I have it covered. I got it covered today.
Kick my feet up.
I'm really
yes.
trying. I swear to God, y'all, Christine does so much work for this podcast. And not that I don't. I do. Yes, I edit the episodes, and that does take a while. But, like, Christine does all the creative work here. We love that for her.
We love that for her. We love that. Not we love that for her.
We love it for us. We love it for us.
We love it for all of us. Yes. Yes.
Okay, so let me get through at least just like the intro of what this book is about.
Yes.
What else? Oh, another thing, similar kind of thing. So, you know, we're marrying these two concepts together. That's kind of the premise of the whole book. And just talking about how astrological forces have this really profound impact on our everyday impulses and activities. Also has a profound impact on the natural world. And similarly, our magic practices have kind of utilized the energy of nature and of the human psyche, and they're all kind of woven in together, right? Because the astrology has an impact on our practices and vice versa, and, well, it doesn't really have an impact on our astrology because that just kind of is what it is. The planets are just going to do what they're going to do.
Yes.
But, oh no. Okay, I thought you were frozen there for a second. But they're all just really kind of interwoven together. So that is what we are going to be exploring in our book club over the next few weeks. If that is something that is interesting to you, please get the book. You know, follow the author on socials. Let her know that we're doing a little book club with her book. Shout us out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we talk a little bit about chapter 1. So chapter 1, entitled As Above, So Below. And shout out if you've been here since the beginning of the pod. That was what our very first episode was called.
That's our chapter 1. Look at it. Alignment.
Alignment. Although it helps that is like an extremely common phrase in the
Yes.
astrological world, right? It just kind of means that
It's a great way to start. Yeah.
It really is. It's a beginning. It's, it's the understanding that like everything that is happening in the cosmos is reflected down here with our measly little earthly experience.
Yes, yes. Like we are just a small fish in a big pond, y'all.
A big ass pond. But just so if anybody is just like a super fan of the podcast and is like really, really paying attention, or if you want to go back and listen to this later after you get the book, you're welcome to do that. But chapter 1 is really, it's not a lot of new information for us at this current juncture.
Yes.
Especially if you've been listening to the pod for a while. It's sort of a history of astrology and all the different ways that it's been used in a bunch of different societies, again, for centuries, which, again, if you go back and you listen to our very first episode, that's exactly what we talk about. Like, here's all the to do an entire history of astrology would be like a life's work. Like,
first of all,
it's so much.
There are universities, okay, people. There are degrees. You can get them,
right?
So we already know what that means.
Exactly.
Plenty of study. Work.
So much. But again, this is just a really good, especially if you too, like me. I don't know if I can still say that I'm a beginner in astrology, but I still don't know that much. Christine is still teaching me things every fucking week.
Hey. Listen, y'all, I read stuff while I'm laying in bed. Like, this is where I am. I used to talk about one of my old bosses about reading trauma books. Like, that was her thing, but she was into that. She's like, oh, I was reading it before I went to bed. I'm like, you were reading that before you went to bed?
Why?
But, that's me with astrology shit. Like,
I've also been through my, I'm out of it now because that shit, I can't do it anymore. But I also went through my reading trauma books and listening to true crime before bed. We can't do that anymore. That energy was bad for us.
See, I mean, you recognize that wasn't working for you. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe she feels it's working for her. Maybe. But it wasn't working for you, so you stopped.
Okay, I did. That's what happened to me. But like I said, I'm in my bimbo era. I'm not reading shit before bed anymore.
Girl, I wish. I mean, I'm
getting high and cuddling with my dog. Okay, that's
what
I'm doing.
I get high. I read I look at charts. I'm literally laying in bed. I have this little pillow set up that I do, and I put my laptops over here. I'm I got a chart pulled up. I'm reading a book. And that's usually how I fall asleep now. And I wake up, I'm the vape's in the bed somewhere, and the computer's still there, right? I'm oh shit, hold on, where's the vape at? All right, there it is. Okay, woo, crisis averted. Not that it could be lost, but whatever. Anyways, okay, tangent. Continue.
No, that's okay. All I was going to say, I'm not going to go really, I wrote more here than I'm even going to say just about chapter 1, just because, y'all will read it. We just kind of get this brief history of astrology, the different cultures that it's been used in, and then some of the ways that people have utilized astrology. So we talk a little bit about all the kind of ancient architecture dedicated to astrology, from Mayan civilizations that were using astrology all the way up to something that I thought was really interesting. But because astrology was so much of a science for so long, it's not really seen that way anymore. It's kind of seen in this sort of mystical, magical practice realm. But so many of the early Catholic churches have tons and tons of astrological art in them. And, modern church leaders, don't really acknowledge that. But, at the time that these structures were built in, the medieval, Renaissance era, that was, that astrology was science, and so they were kind of marrying the church and science, and there's just like all kinds of symbology in a lot of these churches, and I just think that is fucking fascinating.
Right. And like what, I guess I'm sure there's somewhere in history that tells us, but I'm like, and what happened that all of that started separating out? Like, it's usually the advancement of knowledge or information. Of like, then there's these divisions. Like, oh no, we got to break off. And then of course, we had astrology and astronomy. And they had to break off. We got to break off. Like, oh no, hold on, y'all are talking about something else, and we not. No, okay, we gonna call this astronomy. Y'all can be astrology.
Right. Like. Well, and it's so interesting because like you're exactly right. It like we have kind of seen this timeline of astrology like coming in and out of fashion too. Like first it was seen, very much as this like hard science, and then we kind of had this like intellectualism era where we were like, no, throw all that shit away. And then we're kind of there's just been all these phases throughout the course of history and in different cultures at different times of like bringing that back in, leaning back into like traditional cultural practices and leaning into astrology and mysticism and all that kind of stuff. And it's funny that like it seems to correlate with how bad things are in society. Like when there is, when we are on the verge of financial collapse, and when there is like a lot of poverty and a lot of things not going well, people tend to lean more into mysticism and kind of rooting back into these cultural practices. And it I don't know if y'all have noticed, obviously we have a podcast about it, so I'm not an unbiased opinion, but like astrology is everywhere right now. And, things are not great.
Yeah, having a few, and this, it speaks to the transits as well. We're moving out of, what transit are we moving out of Pisces into, are we moving into Aquarius in that space? Is it Pluto? Maybe so. Maybe Pluto's it's the Pluto transit. Aquarius. Yeah, like maybe it's that transit that I'm talking about, that like we're moving from a very, I think it is Pluto, an age where, again, Pisces, we're talking about, we're dealing with some religious stuff. We're definitely dealing with some more extremism. Is it, that's what I'm saying, like, is it Saturn or is it Pluto?
Saturn went from Aquarius and is now in Pisces. And then Pluto went from Capricorn into Aquarius.
Capricorn. Okay, something. Okay, I'll have to call it up. Or maybe we're moving it. I'll figure it out. But we've moved from a more religious time, and so we're seeing kind of people disconnect from more strict religious practices into more esoteric, more spiritual practice, getting into more ancestral practices, just really reconnecting back to things that maybe make more sense to you or for you.
See, I've seen a lot of people talk about that in terms of this like Saturn transit that just happened, because it was in Aquarius for a pretty long time. And like people like, me going through my Saturn return in Aquarius, obviously, but like a lot of people in that kind of group, age range grouping kind of thing, going through that same transit, feel that way about religion. Like it's not a hard and fast, like strict rule thing. It's more spirituality and pulling different practices from different religions, and like, that just makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. So there's definitely it might be that there's a transit that speaks a lot to that more fixed energy of religion, and then there's we're moving into more of a phase where people are leaning or looking towards these esoteric practices. Now, part of what one of these transits also brings up, I know one of the things that kind of comes up in some of the study I did in one of my charts is like, you might not always be the most well liked person because you practice these, other things.
Right.
But there are more and more people leaning towards these things and like wanting to learn, wanting to just expand and open. And like, I think it's just being able to be open. Like I told you earlier, I had this great conversation today with one of my coworkers, and she's like, I guess like a mom to me, but like we I was telling her we do a podcast. I said it was about astrology, and she kind of gave me this look like, oh goodness, And I was like, okay, hold on, hear me out. And we got into this great conversation, and by the end of it, she wanted to have more conversation about this, and because we just related, and we related on different lessons and shadow work. And so I explained some of the terminology to her and explained that, like you have different energy from different planetary placements and this, that, and the other. And the more we made the connections, she's like, okay, yeah. And, this is a very Christian woman. And so this is what I'm trying to tell people. I'm like, there's no conflict,
There's no conflict.
There's no conflict.
¿Por qué no los dos? I'm going to say it again
no
and
los
again.
Dos? Like, you can have them both, y'all. So like,
always,
it's a helpful tool. And if you use it that way, if you can engage in conversations in that way, I think, of course, it makes more connection with people, and then you can get into the fun shit, into the funny stuff. But the funny stuff don't even really make sense to you until you understand some things. So
until you understand some things, yes, exactly.
That's why y'all still only read about your sun sign and you don't know anything about the other ones.
It doesn't relate to you, does it? Like, read the rest of your birth chart, please.
Yes, and then you can connect some of those other energies. Yes, come on, y'all.
Let's see here. Okay, so I'm gonna just kind of wrap it up. Really, in this first chapter, again, we're talking about some history. We have a little section in here about astrology in the body, which we've spent a lot of time talking about in various parts of the podcast, especially if you listen to that sexy ass episode that we did where we talk about, the different signs being correlated to the different parts of the body, the different erotic zones. That is not, I'm still not there. Okay. I still don't get it. Although I will just point out something really interesting in here. So obviously, Pisces being the end of the zodiac sign, we always get linked with the feet, the bottom of the body. And I think I've mentioned this on the podcast before. I've read a couple other books that associate Pisces with the lymphatic system. But one other thing that this book, when it named all the like parts of the body that Pisces is associated with, it referred to the pineal gland, which I had to look up what that was because I didn't know. Are you familiar with that?
I am. Yes. I'm like, wow.
Tell me. Yeah. Doesn't that make sense?
It makes so much sense. I'm like, wow.
Yeah. So the main function, according to Google, the main function of that gland is to receive information about the light and dark cycle from the environment and convey that information into the production and secretion in the body of melatonin. So it really has a big function on our sleep-wake cycles. But then also, like, a lot of people refer to that as your third eye. And, like, of course, like, that makes so much sense for us little Pisces, right? We're, like, this sort of intuitive sign.
Very intuitive.
It's located like really deep in the center of the brain, and it has all this connection to circadian rhythms, which also makes so much sense because I'm such a sleepy bitch, and like that just feels so right, and I'd never heard that before. Yes,
it's a great connection. What better connection can you make? How more intuitive, connected to the pineal gland, like sleep-wake cycles. Pisces, sleep.
Are you serious?
When we're asleep, we are gone. Like we are in another world. Like, listen, look, start doing some tapping in that third eye, y'all. Like, tap in. And the more you allow yourself to connect, like, just, the more you open yourself. And it happens over time. Like, I've been doing a lot of reflecting over this journey this week. Just, I don't know, randomly. But yeah, it happens over time. Tap in, y'all. Like,
tap into
your intuition. We all have it. Some people may have it, like, may more easily connect with it. But we all have it. We all have it.
Yes. It might take you some time to get there, to,
yes,
Christine said, to tap in. I'm doing my goddamn best, okay? I feel like I'm getting places.
I do feel, yeah. I mean, you've been updating me on your journey. I'm like, okay, I see you. You're moving along.
We're trying our best.
Yes.
Anyway, so if you were, again, interested in kind of what parts of the body your particular zodiac sign is associated with, again, this book is a really great place. It's just such a good, this first chapter especially, like, is just a really good beginner's guide to a lot of that stuff. They also spend some time talking about chakras, associating each chakra with a planetary body.
Yes.
They talk about music, which we also have discussed a little bit on our music episode, just about different zodiac signs being connected to different frequencies, different sound waves. And then, of course, also making the connection between the astrology and the zodiac signs with language and, like, different alphabets. Not necessarily like the Roman what's our regular ass alphabet called? There's like a name for it.
Oh gosh, now
it doesn't matter. The alphabet that we use, like A, B, C, D, like,
yes,
you're probably not going to see a lot of connections to that with astrology, just because it's a newer system. But, like, when we look at, like, ancient, like, Arabic alphabets, the, like, all of the like early writings are more associated with the alphabet than our current one. But anyway, there's a connection there with language. It's an interesting read. I highly recommend checking it out. Again, like, not a ton of new information for us on the pod, but I'm excited to kind of get into these connections as we dive a little deeper into the book club. And I'll say it again, if you're interested, follow along with us. Again, the book is Magickal Astrology by Skye Alexander, and I think we're gonna have a really good time with it.
Yeah, I think there's some really fun, like, not just fun, but there's some interesting information. I've been just kind of flipping around some more as we've been talking, and I've seen, again, if you like rituals, there's definitely some good stuff in here. Just working with the energy that's present. I just saw something about the spring equinox. We just passed that.
Yes, we did.
Just a few days ago. And so just, working in that energy, it's spring. Let's, bring, freshen your home, clean things out, like, bring in life, plants, flowers, like, let the light in, open the blinds. I don't know. Open the windows.
The blinds. Oh my God, open the windows. Let that stale ass air out of your house.
Let that air out of there. Like,
burn
burn something. Burn
a candle,
burn something.
A fucking, I don't know, anything. Well, not anything.
Just,
but,
pop a fresh sheet on your bed,
There you go. Wash your shit.
All of that is ritual, y'all. Like, it's not just like the, there's the more magical stuff, but, like, even just, like, cleaning your space and, like, taking care of those things. Yes, like, all of that's ritual. All of that is practice that is good for you. So, yeah, it's not always something like you got to be mixing some herbs and some Florida water or, like, whatever.
Right, you don't have to be out here making potions and shit. Right. Do that if that is in your realm.
Yes,
but, like, it doesn't.
Yes.
It doesn't have to just be that. It can be all kinds of things. Having a morning routine where you like make yourself a cup of tea, or like, I do shit in the kitchen all the time that feels ritualistic and like magical in a way, like
absolutely
taking it back to like Ayurvedic medicine, like balancing your body's like hot and cold, like food as medicine. That is also the practice that I am trying to just kind of tap into a little bit more. I love it.
We've got to talk about Ayurveda on one of the episodes. That would be a great space to jump in. You can get into your nutrition, really like in your food bag.
My food bag. I do love it. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a dietitian.
Right. I was like,
like that, but I love
nutrition foods. Yes.
Right. Yeah. Because I'm winging it over here. But I love to talk about that shit. It's a hobby for me. I also do. I bought an Ayurveda book at a thrift store a couple weeks ago that I have not tapped into, but would love to do an episode about that. Shout out, let us know if you're interested in that, and we'll make another Shelby produced episode sometime soon.
Also, you know what? Just thinking about that, there's a guest that we have talked about for another topic, but she is actually a perfect person to talk about Ayurveda. So if we want, I don't know, maybe bring her back twice. I don't know, but she is like, talk to you all about your, are you, what your doshas and all, she can talk to you about all the things, and so she, that might be a great place to plug her in as well. But like. That would be a great thing. I definitely have a book somewhere that I have not. I've got to unearth it. Yes,
I'm gonna add that to our episode topic list, because you know what, astrology adjacent. This is our podcast. We're gonna talk about whatever the fuck we want.
Also, there's Vedic astrology, so technically, I mean, it's still related.
It is still related. I've actually been getting served a lot of Vedic astrology content on TikTok recently, and I feel like it's really interesting. I don't want to confuse myself, because I'm barely understanding, Western astrology, but I am really interested in it. So another topic, huh?
I mean, same on that note. Like, I've been seeing more and more, and as much as I really want to like dabble, it's like I'm in a space that I'm like, okay, we're really getting somewhere here. Let's stay focused, because this is also the very Aries energy. Let's jump into Vedic astrology. Like, let's not right now. Let's not. How about we stay right here?
One thing at a time.
It's like you said, you want to start doing some like services, some offerings. Let's stay right here. Let's not. This isn't the time for Vedic astrology. Let's get to that later. We'll get there. Take your time, girl. Oof. The Aries energy, just want to jump ahead all the time. But anyways,
speaking of that energy, shall we take a quick break?
Let's break it.
And come back and get y'all out of here.
Get y'all out of here.
All right, we will be right back. Welcome back, y'all.
We're ready. We're ready for the end.
The end.
The end is near.
We are, per usual, we tangented quite a bit, so we are not going to bring you a horoscope today, but, catch us next week. We'll see what we got for you.
The next episode, like Dre said.
Hold up.
I've been enjoying, my musical stylings of our Instagram lately. Because I just, I wake up, and not wake up, but, depending on the day, I just have these musical connections. Sometimes I just want to DJ a story set.
Man, you know what? It's really fun. I love to send a cryptic message by posting what I'm listening to on my Instagram story. Yes. And sometimes I'm not even really trying to send a cryptic message. I'm just like, I want people to think I'm cool because of what I'm listening to. And sometimes I'm just really feeling it, and I'm just like, look, this song bangs. Like, you also need to be listening to this. Like,
yes. I'm like, look, recommendations. I mean, like, I've really been pushing one song this week, and I'm like, look, I'm going to put it, just the stationary, post. Then I'm going to go post it on Instagram. I'm going to plug the song in. We're going to play the song. We put it on a video. Like, you going to hear this song, okay? I'm going to expose you to it.
We love it.
That's, your local Pisces.
Know me, listen, know me. Speaking of which, I started a playlist for us that I have yet
that's
to
right.
post.
Yes, it's time for the next playlist.
And I think it's really appropriate for Aries season. I kind of made it during Pisces season because I was in a mood. But now it's Aries season. It feels even more appropriate. It's called Pisces Villain Era.
Yes. Oh, I'm ready.
And it's just all kind of like bad bitch anthems. I didn't mean it to be this way, but it is it's an all female playlist.
Yes.
So Christine, if you want to add to that, I will send you the collaborative link and then we can post it.
Yes, let's do it.
Let me
channel. Like, listen, as I'm channeling this, this Lilith Venus conjunction in Aries, and it's lighting up right now.
Okay.
Yes, alignment.
I did this
like,
weeks ago and
this.
totally forgot about it.
Yes, get in my bad bitch
and
energy.
I'm looking at it again. I'm like, yes, this is a good ass playlist. Okay, the energy is up. It's yeah. I'm gonna send it to you. Add to it, and we'll post it.
Okay. I'm here for it.
Perfect. Okay. I guess on that note, should we spell it out for him?
That's right. I guess you want to know, how to get in contact with us. Should you need our services. Now remember, people, if you would like a solar return chart or your natal chart, a light reading on the show. Again, it's for the show. It's for content. If you want a reading, please email us. If there are any questions, comments, concerns, wants for information, contact us through email. You can hit us up on other social media as well, but email is where if you're needing information, if you want to be featured, if you want a reading, anything like that. Such a Pisces pod at gmail.com. That is spelled SuchAPISCESPOD at gmail.com.
And as always, you can also find us at Such a Pisces Pod on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. And let me just say, if you have not already, please follow us on those platforms. Please follow us wherever you're listening to the podcast. Give us a 5-star rating. Share the podcast with a friend. And just like, we're so serious. Please email us. Please reach out to us. Like, we love engaging with people who listen to the pod.
Yes, talk to us.
Yeah, we want to hear from you. We want to put you on the episode. We want to read your birth chart. We want to read your solar return charts.
Yes.
We want to have a good time together.
We want to know all about you. We want to
Yes.
merge with you. We want to be one with you.
People in Denmark, especially, because there's so many of
Denmark.
you. Thank you.
Hit us up,
for
Denmark. I'm telling you.
And all of our other beautiful countries that are listening. It's always so humbling.
Let me say,
like, oh my God, people are listening.
We've really grown. Like, people are listening. People are at different places listening. Like, we are really,
beautiful.
We're jumping out here. It's beautiful. We love y'all. Like,
dare I
this
say,
is really dope.
It feels a little magical.
A little magical,
It feels a little magical.
Putting the work in, right? Like, we're out here. We're doing the work. We're dedicated. So things are happening. So yeah, I love seeing where this is going. I love, the growth. There was something I was going to say, and you know what? Maybe it's just going to have to wait, because we're here. We're at the end, y'all.
We're at the end. Well, you know what? If we think of it, we can write it in the outline for next week, and we'll catch y'all then, huh?
We'll catch you next week, y'all. Stay safe out in these streets, and protect your energy.
Bye.
Bye.